Hey there everybody, so I hope you're doing well. My name is Angel and I like all things that are mysterious. So, hold on, I gotta see if you guys are actually gonna... Nope, I don't think it's gonna charge. Which is stupid. Hey there, how are you doing? My name is Angel and I like all things that are mysterious. So, on a back note that you guys don't know about, I'm gonna keep telling you guys don't know what's going on behind the scenes or whatever. You guys only know what you see on camera. I've already recorded this video, the Sutton Top Shot fire, and went and shot B footage for it, put it all together, edited it, didn't like it, deleted it. Okay. I just didn't like it. So what I'm gonna do is we are currently here where the story starts, and my phone is really hot though, so I don't know if it's gonna let us do anything. I guess we'll find out. Anyways, let's get into it. So this is where the story is going to start today. It's not where the story starts, where this story starts, but that's where we're gonna start today. So Mildred Cramer was the 20-year-old daughter of Mr. and Miss Fred Cramer, who lived at 410 South 4th Street in May 1926. She was born in Cherry Valley, Illinois, and went to school there. Mildred moved with her parents to Rockford early in the spring of 1926. My keys are on my nerves. Okay. She was born in Cherry Valley, Illinois, and went to school there. Mildred moved with her parents to Rockford early in the spring of 1926. It's kind of cool. Mildred was previously employed for 4 years at the H.W. Buckbee Florist Store on South Main Street, which does not exist no more. I did find like a picture of seed packets that they used to sell inside the floor shop or whatever. But yeah, the H.W. Buckbee Florist Store on South Main Street does no longer exist. So anyways, Mildred was previously employed for 4 years at the H.W. Buckbee Florist Store on South Main Street, but had just recently quit when some dirt that blew into her eye caused an infection. It was a frightening experience because the infection caused a loss of sight in her eye, and the doctors didn't know if it would be permanent or not. Eventually, the infection cleared and her eyesight returned to normal. However, her parents were concerned for her safety, and it was decided she would find employment elsewhere. So this is our first stop on our little adventure today. I'm going to move to the next part of it, and then we'll continue the story. So, I'm not getting out of my car for this one, because I'm back to where I don't like to be. And that's by the police station downtown in Rockford. It's not a secret. I'm not fond of the police here. I've talked about that many times because of what they did to my dad. But anyways, I'm currently at 420 Elm Street, which is where this next part of the story takes place. And I'm just going to give you a little snippet. And we were just here actually because look, there, I don't know if you, I can't even zoom in, can I? Nope, sure can't. Well anyways, the Lincoln's bust is over there. So, we've already been here. So, there's no reason for me to get out anyways. But I'm going to sit here and tell the story, and then I'll move to the next part, and then the next part. And I really like this versus what I was doing before. I don't know what was going on, but nothing, I didn't like anything about the other video. It's kind of funny. So anyways, back to the story. Mildred was very excited to acquire a position at the Sutton Top Shop at 420 Elm Street. The building was once an old livery stable that had been converted into a light manufacturing business. This was a small shop that manufactured and repaired winter covers for all makes of automobiles, performed automobile body repairs, and made celluloid sun visors for adults and children. Brothers William and John C. Sutton owned it. A heavy demand for their product made the owners decide to expand to 48 people who would work 2 shifts. They were even planning to move to a new building. The brothers were hoping to be up to full speed by the following week. Mildred was hired to work the 2nd shift. She had been there for 2 days and liked the work so far. So, we're going to move to the next leg of this journey because I like to get out of my car. I don't like sitting in my car. Anyways, let's move on.
24/7. And my nights so cold, days so long. They say you don't know what you got till it's gone. When it's gone, and I'm tripping how much.
So I'm not really at where I'm supposed to be at. I'm like around the corner and across the street from where I'm supposed to be at. But there's a school, and then there's like 2 busy roads, and there's really nowhere to park at to walk over there. And because there's school currently in session, I'm not going to go walk by the school, obviously, either. So, yeah, we're just going to, I guess, sit in the car again. I'm kind of sad about that, but whatever. We're just going to keep trucking. So, Mildred was especially thrilled because they were bringing 2 new women in to train, and she was excited about meeting them. Friday, May 28th started out with its usual routine. Mildred had been at work for about half an hour. She had already been introduced to the new girls. There were about 16 other girls on the 2nd floor working on different projects. The 2nd floor was where the cloth part of the roofs were sewn to the celluloid parts. It was approximately 4:30 p.m. There were a few men working on the 1st floor. 2 of the men were cutting the celluloid with a bandsaw. They didn't notice the electric charge that built up or see the sparks that floated down to the floor. But then some of the sparks landed in a pile of celluloid on the floor and ignited it. The workroom was directly under the stairway to the 2nd floor. Intense black smoke billowed up the stairway and was followed by an explosion as the celluloid was engulfed in flames. The men on the 1st floor desperately tried to extinguish the fire, but within a minute the flames had spread all over the room. The men had to flee to save their own lives and abandon the women to their fate. The room caught fire like a pile of dry sticks. Their only exit was now blocked by thick smoke, and the flames were spreading very fast as the celluloid quickly ignited more of the material. The room instantly filled with flames. One survivor said they had about 2 minutes to decide whether it would be safe to jump out of the window or stay inside. The scene was mass confusion as the black smoke blinded the girls and the screams were intense as the fire grew. The women fought their way through the room, falling over one another and the machines in a blind dash to the windows. One woman, Leone Lowling, recalled the horrible scene. "We hardly had time to leave our workbenches. The flames were shooting up all around us." Leone was one of the first women to leap from the 2nd-story windows to the street below. Another survivor, Elsie Baker, stated, "We had no time to think of what to do." Elsie was trapped in the back part of the room and made it to safety by dashing out of a window on the east side of the building and running across the roof to a store located next door. One woman, later labeled the hero of the day, was Lillian Finkbeiner. I know I said her name wrong. She led 4 of the girls to safety through a window onto the roof. She broke a window out in the patent hardware building to gain access. Another building that no longer exists anymore. I just keep finding buildings that don't exist no more in these stories. It's disheartening, to say the least. Lillian was glad she was able to save the 4, but felt that she should have gotten more of the girls out. The first unit of firefighters arrived from Central Station, which was located just around the corner on Church Street. Some of the men attempted to quickly get water on the building, which was billowing great clouds of black smoke. Other men attempted to assist the workers who were fleeing the building. Fire Chief John D. Blake would later be commended with the other firemen for doing a wonderful job protecting the adjoining buildings from burning. 6 firemen were injured as they attempted to reach the women trapped in the fire. People lined the street, and pictures from the day showed some with arms reaching out as if to catch the women. 2 men who worked in an adjoining garage, Bud Shields and Sam Weinberg, tried to break the girls' falls. One girl, whose clothes were smoldering, jumped into a car and set the upholstery on fire. What the fuck? The men put out the flames by rolling the girl in the cement. I didn't know cement could put somebody out. I thought you had to roll them in the grass. But anyways, there's a reason why we are where we are right now. We're in a different location. There's some actually really nice, well, I shouldn't say nice, but cool looking houses over here. But this house right there is the house that's 716. That's the house with the red door. That's the one we're here for. The owners, John C. and William, kept rushing back into the building to try to save more women until the firemen finally forced them to stop. 5 women died immediately, and Mildred was one of them. These 5 were in the center of the second floor and never stood a chance. The celluloid went up like gasoline had been poured over it, and they were overcome by the flames. 2 of the dead women had only been in the building for half an hour. 8 other women were sent to the hospital, some with horrible burns. One girl, 17-year-old Lillian Steffen, landed on a truck where she leapt from the building, breaking her back and arm. Originally, it was thought she would not survive, but Lillian made a full recovery and was released from the hospital on June 30th. There was a huge crowd gathering outside, and the newspaper reported that when the firemen could finally enter the building to remove the bodies, the crowd was amazingly silent. Family members desperately tried to push their way to the front to see if their daughters or wives were among the dead, but they were restrained by the policemen. Fred C. Olson, I have a lot of respect for Fred C. Olson. Fred C. Olson Funeral Home is the funeral home that did my mom's funeral last June. It's almost been a year. I cannot fucking believe that. I just can't believe that. Anyways, Fred C. Olson, the coroner, went in to help remove the bodies. He personally wrapped each girl in a tarp and had the firemen carry them to the morgue wagon using the alley. The wagon left 15 minutes later and wove its way through the silent mass of humanity. Oh, this wasn't it either? Oh, well. Mary Lillie, 36 years old, was born in Monrovia, California on June 10, 1889, a daughter of Mr. and Miss William Ashton. Mary moved to Rockford in 1905 and married Oran Lillie in 1906. Oran worked at the Mechanics Machine Company, which no longer exists. I've looked for it extensively. I did find, like, pictures of shit that they used to make, so I'll insert, like, a picture here. They had 8 children. 8 children. Some brave souls. Brave. 8. Okay, they had 8 children. Sherwood, 16. Lois, 14. Clifford, 12. Avis, 10. Wilma, 9. Elvin, 7. Dawn, 5. And Hazel, who was just 3 at the time of her mother's death. Mary Lillie was buried at Greenwood Cemetery. Helen Mamalis was a native of Greece who came to Rockford in 1914. Her husband passed away 8 years prior to the fire, and the family had struggled since his death. Helen had been ill for several years and had recently returned from a stay in the Elgin State Hospital. Since the children were so young, Helen qualified for the mother's pension fund, but the $25 sum did not go very far. Her eldest son, Theodore, worked part-time at the Lewis Cafe on West State Street. The $15 a week helped, but Helen was forced to seek other employment. Her other children, George and Mary, were students at Roosevelt Junior High, and the youngest, Aphrodite. Aphrodite has an awesome name. The goddess of love. Anyways, the youngest, Aphrodite, attended classes at Blake School. The job at Sutton seemed like the answer to a prayer. Tragically, the children were left orphans by their mother's death in the fire. their father's brother, Peter, who was not able to keep them together. Arrangements were made for a service for Helen at the Greek Orthodox Church and for burial at Greenwood Cemetery. We are going to do a trip of Greenwood. I actually drove to Greenwood today, but they were very busy and there's a funeral going on today. So I didn't think that with a funeral going on that today would be a good day to do a walk or a walkthrough at Greenwood Cemetery. So a different day. Mary Walleck came to Rockford in the middle of May 1926 to look for employment and to visit her aunt, Miss John Cubulas, who lived at 913 Rockton Avenue. So we drove by there, and I did take a clip. So you guys will see the clip, and that's the one that I drove by. It was like a green house with like a wraparound porch or something. But that's where they lived. She was from Kansas City, Kansas, where she lived with her mother. Mary discussed applying for the job at Sutton, but changed her mind when she saw it was originally a third shift position. When Mary saw another advertisement for the second shift, she applied for a position. She was hired the day before the fire and showed up for her first shift just a few minutes before the fire broke out. Just a few minutes before the fire broke out. This poor girl had just shown up. So anyways, Mary was only 21 years old. Minnie Stromdahl was 27 years old and was the daughter of Mr. and Miss G.T. Huffman. She was married to Emil Stromdahl, and they moved to Rockford in March 1926 from Centerville, Iowa. Emil, it was Emil. I don't know how to talk or read. Emil worked at the Scandia Lumber Company, and they lived at 716 Seminary Street, where we currently are. So we are currently at 716 Seminary, and that is the house right there. And you guys can see, you know, my dash cam. I don't go anywhere without my dash cam. So there's that. And this is where we currently are. So she currently lived here. So Minnie was working at the jail clerk company until Tuesday, May 23rd, when she and several other workers were laid off. Remember, I worked at the jail clerk factory. Remember I told you guys that we made the lids for the McCormick black pepper, and they make the icebreakers containers as well. So there's that. Minnie, like Mary Walleck, had only been in the building for a few minutes prior to the fire. She left behind a 4-year-old daughter, Virginia. Minnie's body was returned to Centerville, Iowa for burial. The dead women were so severely burned that the flesh on their arms and legs burst open and made identification extremely difficult. Mildred's father came with her uncle and viewed the body 4 times and studied her features for over an hour before they agreed it was her. Helen Mamalis' body could only be identified by the jewelry that she wore. A coroner's jury demanded that State's Attorney William Knight investigate the case further to identify whether there was any criminal negligence by Sutton Top Shop in the cause of the fire. There was another investigation launched by the Deputy State Fire Marshal George Kyrane, who had inspected the Sutton Top Shop 12 months before the fire. So I'm not going to lie, a lot of stuff has happened since my sister called. A bunch of stuff happened. I don't remember where I was in the story, so I'm going to pick up where I think I left off at, and I'm sorry if it overlaps. But anyways, that way I don't miss anything. There was another investigation launched by the Deputy State Fire Marshal George Kyrane, who had inspected the Sutton Top Shop 12 months before the fire. At the time of the inspection, there were no women employed by the shop. Kyrane had ordered certain changes to be made to the building to increase the safety of the workers employed there. The cost of the damage to the building was listed between $15,000 and $20,000. The city started a fund for the care of the children left behind. Fred Cramer later sued the company for the sum of $1,650 for the death of his daughter Mildred, and was awarded the money by the arbitrator C.A. Townsend, who represented the Illinois Industrial Commission. The Sutton Top Shop reopened in a new location at the corner of Chestnut and South Winnebago Streets, which is where we were hanging out when we first started. So, see, I told you. And I think I said it, we flipped it around. Instead of starting, we were gonna start where the story ended. So anyways, so we're close. the new location at the corner of Chestnut and South Winnebago Streets in the fall of 1926. The new building included 3 new floors and cost almost $100,000 to build. The business was expanded to include visors for doll babies and shoes for children. The Sutton Top Shop still manufactured winter tops for automobiles, but the new shop concentrated more on bodywork of wrecked vehicles. It eventually became one of the biggest body shops in northern Illinois. I don't think I've heard of that one, though. So John C. Sutton's words were echoed by the whole city. I am overcome by grief. I will do everything in my power to aid those in need and to lessen the sorrow of relatives and friends of the dead, especially the children. And I'm not going to lie to you. When I was writing down the addresses and saving the addresses in this app I've been using to do our route or whatever for the B-roll. Oh, that, by the way, that is the end of the story. But I have in here 1518 North Horseman, and I don't know why 1518 North Horseman's in here, but there's the house, the little yellow house, or it's a brick house. It's not yellow. It kind of looks yellow, but it's brick. So for some reason that was saved in there. I don't know why. I'm sure it'll pop up later. But like I said, a bunch of shit happened. My sister called. I ate lunch. Here we are. Anyways, if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. And as always, I appreciate you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.